You talk to your partner every day, but somehow you still feel completely unheard. And the most painful part is this: you don't even know what you're doing wrong. This feeling? It's a quiet ache, isn't it? It's not about shouting matches or dramatic fights. It's the silence that follows a sentence you poured your heart into. It's the blank look you get when you've tried to explain something that feels monumental inside of you. You're sitting right next to the person you love most in the world, yet you feel miles apart, separated by an invisible wall. You share a home, a bed, a life, but not a shared emotional reality. Maybe it happens during dinner. You start to talk about something that happened at work, something that really bothered you, and your partner offers a quick, logical solution. Just do this, they say. But you weren't looking for a solution. You were looking for someone to say, "Wow, that sounds really frustrating." You were looking for understanding, not a fix. Or perhaps you tried to explain why you feel sad or anxious. You choose your words carefully, trying to be clear. And in response, you hear, "You're being too sensitive," or "You're overthinking it." And just like that, the conversation is over. Your feelings have been dismissed, invalidated. It's like being told that what you feel isn't real or isn't right. So you retreat. You grow quiet. At some point, you stop explaining. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you feel it won't matter anyway. This experience of being unheard can be one of the loneliest feelings in a relationship. It's the sensation of speaking a language that no one else in the room understands. You might even start to question yourself. Am I asking for too much? Am I just too complicated? The truth is, it's not about you being too much. It's about a fundamental disconnect in communication that happens in so many relationships. You're not alone in this feeling, not at all. It's a silent epidemic of emotional distance, hiding in plain sight in homes all around the world. So why does this happen? Why do two people who love each other, who talk every single day, fail to emotionally connect? The reason is often much deeper than the words being used. It's about our emotional filters. We all listen to the world through a filter built from our past experiences, especially from our childhood. The way communication was modeled for us when we were young becomes our default setting in adulthood. If we grew up in a home where emotions were dismissed or seen as a weakness, we might learn to listen for problems to solve, rather than feelings to understand. If we grew up feeling like we had to fight to be heard, we might listen for an opportunity to jump in and make our point, rather than truly absorbing what our partner is saying. This is why it often feels like you and your partner are speaking different languages. You're speaking from emotion, while your partner is listening through defense. You are trying to share a feeling, a vulnerability. They, perhaps without even realizing it, are listening for a threat, a criticism, or a problem they need to solve to make the discomfort go away. They aren't trying to be hurtful. They are often trying to be helpful, but from within their own emotional framework. They hear, "I feel overwhelmed," and their brain translates it to, "I have failed to protect you from being overwhelmed, so I must fix this now." This isn't about intelligence. It's not even necessarily about the amount of love in the relationship. It's about emotional safety. When we don't feel emotionally safe, we can't be vulnerable. And without vulnerability, there is no true connection. We end up in a pattern where one person is constantly trying to be understood, and the other is constantly trying to respond, to defend, or to fix. The tragedy is that both partners are often trying to connect, but their methods are pushing them further apart. They are like two musicians playing different songs, in different keys, hoping to create a harmony that will never arrive. Understanding this is the first step. It's not about blaming your partner or yourself. It's about recognizing the invisible pattern that is running the show. Let's look closer at what makes communication fail, even when we have the best intentions. Often, the biggest mistake is that we enter a conversation trying to be right, instead of trying to be understood. We gather our evidence, we build our case, and we present it like a lawyer in a courtroom. We want our partner to agree with our version of reality. But when you focus on winning an argument, both people lose the connection. Your partner feels attacked, so they build a wall. They stop listening to your feelings and start looking for flaws in your argument. And the cycle continues. Another common pitfall is explaining our feelings while we are emotionally overwhelmed. When we're flooded with anger, sadness, or fear, our ability to communicate clearly plummets. We might lash out, use accusatory language like "you always," or you never. Our partner, in turn, feels blamed and becomes defensive. The conversation is no longer about your original feeling. It's now about the accusation. Most arguments aren't about the topic. They are about not feeling emotionally held. They are a cry for connection that comes out as a complaint. And then there's the trap of repetition. When we feel unheard, our instinct is to say the same thing again, but louder. We think if we just repeat the words with more force, they will finally sink in. But what's really needed isn't a louder sentence, but a deeper one. Instead of saying, "You're not listening to me," for the 10th time, what if we could access the feeling beneath it? The feeling that says, "I feel so alone right now when I talk to you." That is the message that has the power to break through. We also often expect our partners to be mind readers. We drop hints, we sigh loudly, we give them the silent treatment, hoping they will magically guess what's wrong. We think, if they really loved me, they would just know. But this is an unfair burden to place on anyone. Your partner cannot live inside your mind. This expectation sets them up for failure and sets you up for disappointment. True intimacy is not about mind reading. It's about having the courage to speak your needs and feelings clearly and kindly even when it feels vulnerable. So how do we begin to change this? How do we build a bridge across this emotional distance? The change doesn't come from grand gestures or dramatic conversations. It comes from small, gentle shifts. It's about slowing down. When you feel a strong emotion rising, instead of immediately reacting, you might want to try just pausing. Take a breath. Allow yourself to feel it without needing to do anything about it right away. Emotional expression isn't a race. It's a slow, unfolding process. It can also help to learn how to name your feelings instead of making accusations. There's a world of difference between "you're ignoring me" and "I feel lonely right now." The first sentence invites a fight. The second invites compassion. It's not about what your partner did. It's about how it made you feel. Try using I statements. I feel hurt when this happens. I feel scared when we argue like this. This simple shift can transform the entire dynamic of a conversation from a battle into a shared exploration. It's also crucial to recognize the signs of emotional shutdown, both in yourself and in your partner. This is when the conversation becomes too overwhelming, and one or both of you just check out. You might go silent, leave the room, or start scrolling on your phone. This isn't a sign of malice, it's a sign of a nervous system that is completely overloaded. When you see this happening, sometimes it's enough to say, "It looks like this is really hard right now. Maybe we should take a break for 10 minutes and come back to this when we're both a little calmer." This isn't giving up. It's giving the conversation the space it needs to breathe and succeed. Remember, the goal isn't to never disagree. The goal is to learn how to disagree in a way that brings you closer, not pushes you further apart. It's about creating a space where both people feel safe enough to be imperfect, to be vulnerable, and to be truly heard. This is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. Be gentle with yourself and with your partner as you learn. There is so much hope here. This feeling of disconnection is not a life sentence. It is a signpost pointing you toward a deeper, more authentic way of connecting. Feeling unheard doesn't mean you are invisible. It means something inside you wants to be understood. It's a part of you that is calling out for connection, for validation, for the simple, profound human need to be seen for who you are. The journey to being heard by another begins with learning to truly listen to yourself. What is the feeling beneath the frustration? What is the unmet need beneath the anger? When you can connect with that part of yourself, you can begin to share it with your partner in a way that they can finally hear. The love is there. The desire to connect is there. You just need a new language to find each other again. Mindsnap wants to be your safe space, your confidant. What has been weighing on your mind lately? What conversation do you wish you could finally be heard in? Please write it in the comments. You don't have to carry it alone. Thank you for spending this time with me.